Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another Node Nation MA. I'm Mascot. Really excited to be here with the Alphashares team. Got 4 of the core team members here. Really cool guys. We've talked a little bit before hopping on stage here. So excited to hear about what you guys are doing with Alphashares and about yourselves and all things going on with your project. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Mascot, for having us on here. I'll preface real quick for everyone listening over the recording. I already said it before, but sound a little nasally, so I apologize if my voice cracks during this time and if I'm a little bit inaudible. But I'm Tyler, sub ETH. My first name's Tyler, though. You can call me by my first name. I'm totally fine with that. I'm the co-founder, CEO, if you will, of Alphashares. I like to do a lot of the business side of things. And I've got here Bad Shogun, who is the other co-founder, and he's the CTO and lead side. I'll let him introduce himself in a second. And then we also got 2 of our other senior members here, Merc and Farmer, and they can introduce themselves too. Go ahead, guys.
Hey guys, my name is John. I also don't mind if you call me by my first name. Tyler and I met earlier this year, and things just ended up clicking really well for us. And we launched the project and met with amazing and unexpected success, and it's just been fantastic the way that the community has come together. And because of that, we've been able to push forward with this phase of Alphashares that we're just incredibly excited about and have just been working incredibly hard on now for a couple months. And we are so close to the finish line now. A little bit more about myself. I have been a software engineer for a little over 20 years. I'm currently a staff engineer, which is kind of like an architect at a Fortune 500 company out here in Arizona. And that's my day job. And I put another 8 hours in every night for Alphashares. And it's been totally worth it. The things that we've seen happen already with the community just has been amazing, and really looking forward to releasing this for you guys. That's it for me.
Hey guys, I'm Merc. My name is Daniel. I'm just a guy trying to make everything happen and get some good success and have a great community. Like Bad Shogun was saying, the community at Alphashares is amazing, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of all of this. I kind of see my role is I kind of see like day-to-day operations and make sure that everything's kind of working smoothly, and taking over a little bit of the responsibilities of marketing. So we actually have a lot of plans in store, and I'm really excited about this next phase and what we've all been working on. Because I just want to preface, Farmer here, he's really stepped up. A lot of the people on the mod team even have just like, it's insane. Everyone at Alphashares right now is working on something to help us all succeed. Everyone has a job. It's a lot of moving parts because we're pretty technical. So hey guys, good to meet you. Pretty excited.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Farmer, if you're there.
Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and throw a little something out there. I'm Farmer, or Niles. I'm an actual farmer in real life, and I'm a senior mod over at Alphashares, and I'm the one that's kind of behind the scenes, kind of orchestrating things now, because our mod team, which is a lot of our veteran investors, have really stepped up and made our ability as the executive team, if you would, being able to step into other roles and really challenge the space and be able to do the things that we need to do to kind of get where we're going. So I'm really proud of our moderation team over there, junior mods and mods, to really step up and to be tackling things. And like Merc said, everybody over at Alphashares, whether they're on the mod team or not, is working towards something, some sort of goal, whether it's shilling or just using their networks and their platforms to really educate people on what our company is about.
Thank you, Farmer. Yeah, so great intro from everyone. Didn't give too much of an intro on myself. I know that we want to move quickly into Alphashares and everything that we're doing, but real quick, just for me from a professional standpoint, I come from the real estate world, been in real estate since I was 18 in terms of being licensed. I'm a broker now. I've been doing that, like I said, since I was 18, so for about a decade now, and been really just pushing hard on the business side of things. I've started multiple businesses in the real world, but I've always been a techie. Always been, well, not always, but I've been trading cryptocurrency since 2015, 2016. Really got into it around 2017. And for the longest time was just kind of a degenerate trader, like a lot of you people that are probably listening, and decided that once I met with John here, we wanted to kind of do something different, disrupt the space, kind of make the project that we want to invest in. We lost a lot of money in other projects that the developers and the founders just didn't necessarily care, or they put out a project that blew up because it seemed to look good, but in the end, it might have not been calculated how it should have been. So that's the whole goal with Alphashares, is to really build something that we ourselves would have invested in, or would love to have, or would have loved to be an option back when we were tossing a lot of our money around. Now all of our focus is on Alphashares, and we don't get to invest in other projects, but that's how we like it, because what we really want to do is focus all our time into this. So what is Alphashares? Well, Alphashares started out as Alpha Nodes. We launched on February 19th. What Alpha Nodes was just, and what our token still currently is until we launch fully into Alphashares with our marketplace launch, is a reflection token. So the token itself, the $Alpha token, is taxed on both buys and both sells. It's taxed 18%. 10% of that 18% goes back as reflections. So it goes straight back into everyone that's currently holding the token, into your pockets in the form of, your reflections that are tallying up on your dashboard. Those reflections, they tally up as USDC, but at the time when we launched, we wanted to kind of have a unique differentiator about our project. And so we kind of played the whole node space that was really a fad at the time. Nodes are still doing well. At the time, it wasn't their peak, back in February, but everything was still pretty high. And so we decided, let's not just reward people with our reflections in USDC. Let's let people compound their reflections into more passive income, quote unquote, if you will, by letting them take their $60 in USDC, and instead of claiming it as USDC and maybe go buying a Thor node, then they could just go claim it immediately as Thor tokens. So it's just a convenience factor, really. And it was kind of it wasn't really gamification, but it was, again, just convenience for our holders. And so it really did take our project off. It worked really well. It kind of worked far better than we thought it would. And the main reason we've been transparent about this from the start, the main reason for this phase one reflection token was really a treasury builder. So like I said, there's an 18% tax, 10% of that going back to holders, but 6% at launch was going to a treasury. And that treasury built pretty substantially. Within the first couple of weeks, we had a few $100,000, or a couple $100,000. And a couple of weeks later, we had a few $100,000. And we knew that we could use this money to really build those projects that when John and I first met over dinner and we talked about what we'd like to see in the space, those ideas took a lot of capital. They took a lot of money that we needed to be able to hire legal teams, developers, engineers, designers, so on and so forth. And so using the treasury funds that we've now grown, from the beginning, we were dropping Medium posts about what's the next phase, what's phase two, how are we utilizing these treasury that we're building, and what are we going to build? And the whole focus has been around sustainability. Everyone talks about sustainability, but what does that mean? When most people talk about sustainability, they're talking about how can I go and take my unsustainable returns and put some sort of proxy or an extra token on top and layer something on top to make it seem sustainable for the short term. But that's not what we're about. And true sustainability comes from a real business model, real profits, a real platform, something that generates income. What we've seen often in this space is most projects nowadays are a transfer of wealth. They go about from taking money from investor B and bringing it back to investor A. Rather than being a transfer of wealth, we want to be a project that's focused on value creation. How can we generate a platform and grow a business that's an actual business that pulls money in from outside, utilizes that money, and keeps their share because of our platform? So we looked at what businesses are like this in the current space and what has a big market share, what has an untapped market, or at least has a segment that could be tapped into. There are multiple ideas, and Alphashares as a company, we are now, how we brand ourselves as a blockchain brand, where we are building multiple platforms and services under our Alphashares brand. I'll get to the benefit of our holders in a second of how you guys benefit from being within the Alphashares brand. But our first platform that we're launching is an NFT marketplace. We did some market research. We looked at what's currently in this space that is a real business that generates a substantial amount of money. We know from researching node protocols that when you get a lot of people invested in a protocol, you have a lot of people to pay back a return. If you have 100,000 people invested in your protocol and you want to pay them $10 a day, you're talking about $1 million a day. So you need to have a business that can profit $1 million a day. What is something that can generate profits like that? Well, we found that NFT marketplaces do pretty well. OpenSea, Looks Rare, good examples of the top, the cream of the crop. They do $100 million a day in revenue. They take a 2.5% fee, meaning they make $2.5 million per day in profit. They take those profits and they return them back to their venture capitalists, their shareholders that were privately invested in the beginning, their angel investors, so on and so forth. And in my opinion, I see that as a very centralized investment pool. I see people that were established in their venture capital careers, in their angel investment careers. They were accredited investors, so they already have $1 million net worth, and they get to reap the benefits of investing in a company at an early stage and then sharing in those profits. And something that we wanted to do was kind of take the utility token of Alpha and not promise people returns, but be able to get people that maybe aren't in those same positions, in those centralized financial positions, but people like yourself that are listening, and be able to take advantage of or get in that same driver's seat. And so we're launching a marketplace that's going to be launching here very soon. Our contracts are currently in audit with Paladin, but when that marketplace launches, it's going to be at the par of the UI and UX, the user experience, look, feel, everything of a top premium marketplace like OpenSea and Looks Rare. We've got sneak peeks on our Discord. If there's somewhere that we could post them in here, we'll get them posted in here so you guys can see. But the marketplace itself is going to be a competitor, a direct competitor of the top marketplaces out there in terms of just the look and feel. But we're more than that. We're going to be offering utility to our marketplace where we can offer capabilities for, utility-driven NFTs, stuff that maybe provides emissions, provides you access to a certain part of their protocol, so on and so forth. A lot of these utility-driven NFTs actually are against the terms of service of the biggest or the bigger marketplaces out there like OpenSea and Looks Rare. There are multiple reasons for that, and we've gotten into those before, and those could maybe be something for a question. I could go on and on about it, but what we want to do is be that go-to marketplace for those utility-driven projects, where if you have an NFT that is focused around utility and not just straight art, we will be that go-to marketplace for you, because we can do things like you need your NFT to only be traded in your specific ERC20 token. Well, we can do that. For example, Universe, when they launched, their token ended up getting undercut by the fact that their NFTs could be listed on secondary marketplaces and traded with AVAX and not with the Univ token, which is what the nodes were originally created with. So what happens is you spend $100 on Univ token and made your Univ node, and then you went and the price of Univ token started to go down, so you sold your Univ node for $90 in AVAX. Well, if other people start to see the price go down, then they start undercutting that $90 in AVAX cost on that secondhand marketplace, and now the Univ token is tied to a secondhand marketplace because all their NFTs are being traded in Avalanche, not in Univ. We would love to have been established before then, because we could have solved their issues and we could have white glove approached their own section of our marketplace to allow their Univ planets to be traded with Univ token only. So these are some functionalities that make us unique, because obviously we don't want to just reskin an OpenSea and then try to compete with them. That's not the goal. We're going to bring a lot of unique functionality to our marketplace, but the real benefit to our holders, going back to that taking the driver's seat of the venture capitalist, is by holding our token, our alpha token, and utilizing 100. Currently, we know what we've announced. It's 100 billion alpha token to mint one of our NFTs. So we have a series of 10,000 NFTs that will be releasing upon the launch of our marketplace, of which 9,843 of those NFTs will be the base collection. We will have a small 157 Genesis collection, but the 98.43% of our collection will be minted with 100 billion alpha tokens. If you hold one of those NFTs, then you have a 1/10,000th share of the profits that are generated on the marketplace. And to be more exact, the way that it works is our marketplace will take a 2.5% fee by default on all projects that are listed with us to be on par and consistent with other marketplaces that are out there. But 1.25%, half of that fee, would be taken immediately to be used to purchase alpha, and that purchased alpha is then distributed back to the people that are staking NFTs with us. So if you own one of our 10,000 NFTs and you stake it through our platform, you earn passive generated alpha tokens, the utility token of our protocol, just through the transactional volume on our platform. So like I said before, if we were up the scale of OpenSea and LooksRare, $100 million a day, they generate $2.5 million a day in profit. If that same example was present with our marketplace, then we would have $1.25 million per day to circulate around our 10,000 shareholders. And so that's really the value proposition to our holders. The value proposition to other projects is that we're going to be that unique platform that can really cater to everything that they need. So my voice is kind of going away on me now, but that's kind of the full shebang there. I know that Shogun here might have something else he wants to touch on.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more about the platform itself and what we're trying to do. The platform is also being set up to act as a launchpad for other NFT projects, whether that is a new project that has utility tokens and they need some help developing that side of it and getting their NFTs on a marketplace, we will be able to help with that. Or if you are an artist and you have a new series that you have in mind and you would like to have that come to fruition, then we can also help with that. So those are all going to be part of what this marketplace offers. And secondly, the marketplace is only the first of many planned services that will be producing real income. We are currently designing a DEX that will be integrated directly into the app. And of course, the first token that you will be able to trade immediately will be the Alpha token. And it'll be kind of interesting because the transaction fees that are coming from trading Alpha token on our DEX are then going to be going back and being split to buy more Alpha tokens to send back to the NFT stakers, producing more transaction fees. So yeah, that should be pretty interesting to see how that works. And just a little bit more about the tokenomics and the way that we have this set up. The initial rewards are going to be in more of a static format. So each NFT will have a static emission rate each day. But at the same time, and this is available on day one, the transaction fees will also be getting sent back to your dynamic side of the staking pool. And those, of course, there's no idea as to what those returns are going to be, only that it's going to be dependent on the volume of the marketplace and the volume of any other real income producing service that we add on to the Alpha umbrella. So those are the additional items that I wanted to add to that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of a lot. The main focus here really is building as many platforms and services around our brand that are actually income producing, right? So the NFT marketplace being one, a DEX being another, an auto compounder, a yield farmer, a lending platform, those being others. So things that money comes in from and fees get taken from in the form of actual profits. This is something that we just really want to hone in on because a lot, if not majority, of protocols out there are really trying to incentivize people with crazy returns, and those returns are only incentivized by other people investing. You can call it Ponzi-nomics, you can call it incentivizing, you can call it whatever you want. One thing that we want to do is always promise our holders that the profits that you're generating, if you're generating profits, which there's no promise of profits as always, but the profits and the price structure, I guess price appreciation of our token is going to be dependent on real business that's generated on our real platforms and nothing that's going to be Ponzi. And so it's all dynamic too. So nothing's promised because one day just like OpenSea, I just looked at their metrics yesterday. On average, like I said, they do about $100 million a day. But I think it was on May 1st, they did, I think it was a little over $1 billion. Or not a little over, they made $13 million in fees, in profit that one day on May 1st. And so some days you make $13 million a day and some days you don't. So that's the way, though, that their investors get paid back is dependent on their own business operations and how their businesses do. And there's a massive problem in this space where people promise fixed returns. And that's something that shouldn't be happening, in my opinion. So we'd love to answer any questions, though, that anyone has. I know that we kind of talked about a lot. I think the best way to kind of hone in on anything would be someone's got questions, I'd love to answer them.
Yeah, there's some written up questions in the AMA questions tab, which I'll sort of read off
Okay.
to you guys or sort of summarize a couple of them. So, Dupe from your Discord asks, in the first medium, there's a reference to burning 56 trillion alpha tokens, as well as using 25% of the Genesis auction AVAX for buybacks and burn. Is that still in the plan, and or can you give updates with regard to the transition and buybacks, burns, and tokenomics?
So that first medium has been a bit of a frustration for everyone because when we first we had unprecedented growth with alpha nodes being our phase one as a treasury token and growing what we wanted to grow. And so before we knew how much it took off, our plan was to pretty much just do another alpha nodes, another reflection token on a second chain and to continue that treasury growth. But we didn't need to because we were successful enough where we could immediately get started on Alphashares. And so that first Medium article really talked about if we were to be launching on a second chain, which at the time was going to be Phantom with another alpha node style reflection token, then yes, we would have been doing a 25% burn. We would have been airdropping tokens to those new holders. But what ended up happening was we became far more successful than we thought we were, and our treasury got to a point where we immediately got started on Alphashares and onto a completely different route, which is where that second Medium article started and where we are today. So, a lot of the stuff that was talked about in that first Medium article isn't, related to what we're doing now, just because we're not launching another alpha node style token on Phantom. Instead, we're launching the marketplace. We're not launching a new token. All of that first Medium article was all about launching a new token, a sister token, if you will. And since that's no longer happening, the same style airdrops and burns won't be happening. But Shogun unmuted his mic. I know he's got some stuff to say about it too.
Yeah, I can add a little bit onto that. Interesting things about the tokenomics. When we do transition to this phase 2, we're going to be turning off taxes and reflections. And at that point, any alpha that is left on the contract will be completely inaccessible and considered burned. It's out of circulation. That's in addition to the alpha that is in the dev wallet that will also be sent to a vault and never touched. And there's also a burning mechanism that we're adding into the system, which is related to adding, updating, and deleting vanity attributes. So if you have a wolf that you really love and you want to give it a name, you'll be able to do that. And the way that that's going to work is that you will expend a small amount of alpha token, which will be sent to the burn address, to the dead address. So there is still burning in place. There are going to be a large percentage of the tokens completely taken out of circulation and inaccessible. And that's all in addition to the fact that in order to mint out 9,843 of these NFTs, that would require almost the entire original supply of tokens. So there might be some interesting things happening around that. And one of the things that we are doing to help is we're only releasing 1,000 NFTs per week so that the alpha tokens will be able to continue to circulate as they are being emitted. That's also, of course, in addition to the fact, and I forgot to mention this earlier, is that we have a secondary staking pool for alpha. You stake your alpha and you earn wrapped AVAX. And that will also be coming from the transaction fees on the marketplace and any other income producing service that we are able to add in. 20% of the transaction fee is going to that pool. And so 70% of all the transaction fees are going back to the holders, 50% to the NFTs, and 20% to the alpha staking pool.
Yep. So it'll be similar to a lot of people have staked, like Looks token. Very similar to that in terms of if you take your alpha token and you stake it on our DApp, you'll be able to also partake in a profit. I don't want to say profit sharing because it's not necessarily Just profit sharing, because we're going to have a lot of different ways for you to take your tokens and restake them, compound the back end, make you some more. So it just depends on how you want to see it. But both different sides, either on the NFT side, or if NFTs are fully minted out and you can't get your hands on one, you can still take some alpha tokens and stake those as well. So always trying to open it up for everyone. And just to touch on, to finish that thought off with the how many tokens would be burned. Like we were saying, once we launch, we turn off all the taxes. The contract that's currently distributing, that's taking the taxes and then distributing them back out, it currently holds about 40 trillion tokens, which is about $100,000. Let's say it stays around that same price or around that same balance of tokens. That's how many would be theoretically burned, because we can't take them out of that contract. And since we're turning off the taxes, that contract just sits there. It is a dead wallet. And so, we talked about, you said, I think you brought up 56 trillion tokens. Well, currently we're at about 40 that will be burned. So in essence, it'll be very similar to what we talked about, but not exactly the same. So I think that was a full answer.
I'd say so. Comprehensive, indeed.
Yeah.
Well,
so we can go to the next one if you'd like.
Yeah, awesome answers, guys. You guys are killing it. So, Keck W from your guys' channel asks, will the revenue split be consistent for all future alpha products? For example, let's say someone's NFT holdings gives them a 1% revenue split on the alpha marketplace. Will they receive 1% on the DEX and other future protocols as well, or will the weight of our shares vary between products?
So the way that it should be thought about is each product or service is going to have its own fee structure, right? And so, for example, for what we've already announced, the marketplace, there's a 2.5% total fee. Half of that, 1.25%, is the pool to our NFT stakers. That is the total amount that will be going towards that pool. Now, the amount that you are due is always going to be a consistent weight, and that weight is described in our white paper. So it's a little confusing on how it works, but we do have some multiples on how that weight ends up working out. Every single base NFT is weighted the same. The only things that are different in weight are our Genesis tiers, and since there's only 157 of them, their weight is a multiple of the other ones. But since it's such a small 1.57% of the total collection, it doesn't actually eat too much into those fees, and so it's proportional. Everything is going to be proportional, and if you have the weight that you have out of the pool of the NFT fees or the NFT marketplace fees, let's say we have a DEX, and that DEX has its own pool of fees, the same weight will be taken from that pool. So I hope that answers that question. And John, I don't know if you wanted to answer it a different way.
Yeah, so technically the way that it will work is that what we're doing right now is we're building the infrastructure to be able to handle this kind of payment splitting. And as fees are brought in, they're sent to a centralized payment splitter, which then has a predetermined split. So that is what we've already been talking about. So any new revenue stream, the fee that goes back to the Alpha protocol goes to that same payment splitter and then distributes it out.
Yeah,
Yep.
Makes sense to me. Quality
Cool.
answers, you guys. Is the team currently full, or is Alphashares still hiring? And if so, what team size are you guys aiming for?
So I can answer that one as well. We're definitely always on the lookout for very talented and hardworking people who take ownership of whatever it is that they are working on. Tyler and I have actually recently been talking about something called the 4 agreements. And if you know what those are and you understand them and you try to abide by them, then we probably want to talk to you. But yeah, on the dev side, I'm going to be scaling up a little bit more once we get through this audit. Right now, the DEX is being designed by Mel Designs DeFi. She's not the same one who did our marketplace design, but she is working with the same brand identity and ensuring that it all fits into the alpha look and feel. And we've all seen Mel's work. She's really amazing, and we're excited to have her on our team. She's actually with us a full 20 hours a week, now helping out with all sorts of marketing materials and graphic design, anything that we need. She's just killing it. But yeah, I mean, if you know a senior engineer, I would definitely be interested in talking. And I'll let Tyler and Farmer and Daniel talk about the other side there.
Yeah, so we've been building it out, and I'll let I kind of actually do want Mark and Farmer to talk about it a little bit, because that's what we've really been building out recently. Is the main focus for the longest time was really building out that engineering side and the design side. So I was working, with multiple designers, and then John here was working with a bunch of engineers, and we were really trying to just make sure that all this tech was done, our NFTs are getting done correctly, the design work of our platforms getting done correctly, our marketing is going well enough, because we obviously don't want to show our hand too much, but we need to show enough to keep people interested. But recently, as we've been fully able to now show off the new rebrand, everything's kind of been kicking up a notch. And as Daniel said when he joined in here earlier, I've really been putting a lot more on him to kind of get this marketing up and going. And so I'll let him touch on with Farmer, what's been going on there, because we have added now, I think we've got total with the whole team, we've got about a dozen people that are working in the Alpha team right now.
Yeah, I think it might even be more than that. Yeah, I mean, I have like 5 engineers.
Yeah, you're right. I guess I meant like just the core, but yeah, if we're talking about contractors too, yeah, we've definitely got more.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah. Early on in when we were like alpha nodes and stuff, it's pretty interesting because we kind of had a nice little run and our Discord got flooded, and it really kind of set the tone for like, okay, well, we need to take a step back and really just kind of structure this whole environment to be prepared for that. And I'm not going to say that we weren't prepared for it, but when most of the team is, North American time zones, it's kind of hard to like cover the bases on overnights and stuff. And so we started fleshing out a really robust and nice mod team. Actually, I haven't seen. I've been in a lot of protocols. I've done the degen stuff just like everybody else here, and I haven't seen a better mod team. I don't even know what to say about it at this point. It's like, so I integrated this thing. It's basically a website structure designer thing that you can get people into that are on your team, and they can kind of see what's happening day to day, and called Asana, and that's been helping a lot. It kind of brings the team together. It's like, hey, how's it going? What is everybody talking about? It's like, oh, did you see the Asana? And so we've been working with structuring. We've been building out the mod team, and everybody's kind of like nestling into their roles. But some really interesting things that I've been trying to do, and with efforts from Charles and Hurlman that have helped me out on some marketing things, is just project outreach, because everything that they outlined with the fee structures and moving forward with that, with the alpha token dividend sharing, that requires volume, right? And yes, we will have volume with our initial NFTs, but one of the things that I've really been trying to do is I'm reaching out to, I'm sure a lot of you guys know a lot of the protocols that I've been reaching out to, and I'm not going to say any names, but there's a lot of NFT utility token protocols out there, and they need a home. Even if some of them don't really see it yet, they need a place to be, because none of these other marketplaces are going to take care of them the way that we can. And that's the exact way that I try to outline it to them. It's because it's you cannot find someone else that is doing this so down to the scale. Like OpenSea is not going to go to one of these DeFi protocols and be like, yeah, we'll put your token on our marketplace. It's just not going to happen. But on top of that, like we're also going to be launching I think ASAP, as soon as possible after our marketplace launch. We're going to be working on trying to get on Ethereum, and I've been doing a lot of outreach there too, and we found some success. We found a little bit of success on Avalanche as well, and we do have some things that we want to announce, but we're going to definitely wait on it because I don't think that it would be beneficial right now. But on the marketing sides of things, we're making strides. We're making very, very exciting and very efficient strides. So I'm really excited about all that. And of course, like I said, the mod team has just been helping out a ton with just daily tasks. That's one thing I'll say is when it comes to being on a team as a moderator, look around and what can you do? What can you do to help everyone else around you? And that's exactly what I see right now in Alphashares. So it not only are the founders and the entire engineer team just kicking ass, but it's all around, man. Like it's a joint effort. Takes a village, right?
Oh yeah.
Definitely does. Yeah. So we got a lot of big announcements coming soon. Can't wait. Can't wait to get those all out.
Well, as we approach the 40-minute mark here, my question to you guys is, if there was one or two really big important takeaways that you want people to know about Alphashares, whether they're brand new to the project and this is the first time they've heard about it, or they've heard it a million times, what's really the heart and soul and the core defining part of Alphashares that you want people to know above everything else?
Really, what I want everyone to know is that we're a real business. A lot of protocols, they come out and they're under the guise of a real business. They are under the look and feel of, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to incorporate. This is what we're thinking about doing. And plenty of them do incorporate. And I love when people, form an actual business entity, which we have. We have Alphashares LLC out of Wyoming. And that's just one aspect. That's one step. But what I want people to know is you can look at a lot of blockchain businesses, real performing billion-dollar businesses. And I keep going back to, as a comparison, as a competitor, OpenSea and looks rare because they're just, forefront of the mind right now. But they're real businesses. And I know that a lot of people would enjoy to be a equity shareholder, if you will, in a business like that. And coming from the business world, how this, my first idea before I even had ideated anything around Alphashares with John was I actually had an idea about fractionalizing real estate. Because like I said, I come from real estate. And the issue with that is that, let's say you have a buddy that made really good money in something and he has $100,000 and he'd like to invest it into real estate. Doesn't want to buy a whole house though. He wants to just own a portion of one. Well, he can't do that because you have to be an institutional investor to be able to take your $100,000 and go to a REIT and say, I'd love to give you this $100,000 and you invest it into property for me and give me my dividend share. You can't do that because you have to be accredited. And I find that completely, against the times. I think that we've moved past that, and I think the innovation needs to be pushed. And my idea was how to fractionalize real estate on the blockchain. And this is honestly one of the first steps there. We're not fractionalizing real estate yet, but we're fractionalizing a business, and we're fractionalizing a real business with real income. And that's what I want everyone to know and understand, is that it might be a low and slow approach because we're not going and saying, hey, buy our token, turn 10 of them in, and we'll pay you 1,000% APR immediately. It just doesn't work that way. I come from the real business world, and I'm going to tell you, no real business would ever propose that to anyone. So we're going to operate like a real business, and we know that there are a lot of degenerate traders out there that might not be interested in a real business and they want a quick return. But we also know that this space needs more professionalism, needs more maturity, and that's what we're bringing.
Well, awesome. I'm really excited to see what you guys do moving forward. I'm really personally pumped for the marketplace as someone who can't stand OpenSea. I really hate their end user experience. I think it's I think it's bad. I've only had bad experiences with OpenSea. So if you guys can put up some healthy competition, you'll see me over there using that product all the time. So it sounds like
I love
every
it.
one of you guys have a extreme level of competency in DeFi and really acute skills in each of your fields, and really just an awesome team to see here. So we really appreciate your time. Thank you to everyone coming from your community over at Alphashares. Thank you to all the Spartans at Node Nation taking the time to be here and listen and be a part of this AMA. We appreciate you guys making the time to come out and hang out with the team here. Again, I'm Mascot. We really appreciate you guys from Alphashares, and we look forward to talking to you again, and we will catch you on the next one.